Good morning. How are all the empathic, sensitive souls doing this morning? It is Wednesday, December 17th. Oh my gosh. Christmas is next week. I cannot believe how fast time is it's flying by. I am Denise, your intuitive emotional healer. I am here with our card draw. On Monday, we drew that beautiful magic prayer card. And the message was speak your prayers, listen for the answers, act in faith. And I don't know about you all, but that listen for the answers part is really a struggle for me. And I think it's because we're so used to instant gratification or absolutely nothing at all. There is no in between. So now I have to breathe, and it is so hard to slow down when you're in the midst of life, isn't it? I find it a struggle. In the morning, I try to wake up early, which I never can seem to do. And I try to go to bed early, which I can never seem to do. But I can nap really well in the afternoon. And I find that when I'm napping, my mind is 50 million thoughts trying to process. And if I can focus in on whatever show I'm watching and let the voice kind of be the white noise, and then I can kind of daydream into my perplexing questions or prayers that I have and see if I can come up with an answer. Most times I'm jarred awake by a phone call or some TV commercial that is 50 million times the volume of what the show was I was watching, and I never seem to get the answer. So last night I decided to do a meditation as I was falling asleep. I may have gotten the answer in my dreams. I don't know because I never remember my dreams. Everybody says, oh, take a dream journal, write them all down. I'm not coherent enough when I wake up to remember to grab my pencil and a journal, and I am not turning the light on because that just wakes me up even more. And sleep for me is very precious because I don't get a lot of sleep. For me to journal, not going to happen. It was funny, I was reading an article that in olden days, people used to go to bed when the sun set, and then in the middle of the night they'd wake up, they would feast, they would have conversations, they'd be up for a couple hours, and then they'd go back to bed for a couple hours and then get up when the sun came up. And I had to laugh at that concept because that is what my autistic great nephews do. They're on that wave, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. That timeline, I don't know. And it's like they may be onto something. But the problem is our world today doesn't revolve around that type of concept of being able to rest throughout the day when you need it because they're in school and we're at work. And today's world doesn't revolve around the seasons. Even if you're a farmer or a crop grower or a gardener, yes, this is the down season, but you have other things you have to do. There's no downtime in the winter, which is so hard on us humans. Not that we hibernate, but that we need to slow down. And slowing down is part of the time where, especially during the winter, where people would come together and they would celebrate and look forward and plan for the new year. What's your hopes and dreams? What are your prayers for the coming year? One is we all survived through the cold winter, but two, that we're going to have a plentiful new year and be able to not just survive but to thrive. So when we ask for prayers now, we don't have downtime. We don't have downtime to wait for those answers because life is moving so fast, and I'm at work 8 hours of the day. When I come home, I'm exhausted. I don't know if it's just me, if it's just the time we're living in, if it's just all the BS that's going on in the world that is so exhausting. I don't know. But this is the time of year where in olden days people would really slow down, gather in. You know, yes, you had to go out and forage for logs to burn if you didn't all summer, but most people that used fire as warmth and cooking, that they had a heck of a stack of firewood, right? But you still have to go out and do chores. If you have animals, you have to tend to your animals. You have to, you know, as majority of women were the food maker, the caretaker, you know, there was never downtime for women even until the kids were in bed because they were baking bread. And if you ever watch any documentary on pioneer women, their their day was very busy. It wasn't as fast paced mentally as we have nowadays, but they were physically busy. They had time to, as they're churning butter, or, you know, there were times where you can let your mind wander. We don't usually have times like that nowadays, which is hard on a human to go through that. We're not meant for the industrial age we're living in. We're meant for a more holistic, a more grounding to earth type of life, but we don't have that. So to take the time to meditate throughout the day like they used to do, or were able to do, or had time to do, to compare to our life now is two totally different animals. So speak your prayer, listen for the answers, act in faith. It's the listening part that I struggle with. To take the downtime, you know, even at work when I've got 10 minutes and I can and stare out the window at a beautiful snow falling or the sun shining or a tree or whatever, it's, you hear the noises from work and the phones ringing and people talking and the commotion. So I cannot even detach while I'm sitting there trying to at work. It's a struggle. And when I get home, you know, you get home, there's things you have to do. You have to get supper, you have to do laundry. The list doesn't end. I like to try to sneak a nap in, and I usually do somewhere along the line, and that is my downtime. And then when I go to bed, that's the other downtime. But I try to meditate and say my prayers before I go to bed. And sometimes, if I am awake long enough as I'm listening to a meditation, the thoughts will pop in of answers that I'm looking for. But it's very rare because my brain doesn't shut down long enough for answers to come in. That's my struggle. What is your struggles? Do you guys go through the same thing? Because I certainly am just that listen for the answers part is what gets me. Once I have the answer, acting in faith, there's times where I have self-doubt. Should I be doing this? Is this right? But if I would follow my instinct and set the doubt to the side and just go for it, it's usually the right path. Very rarely do I ever make it, and if I do, my nervous system makes me nervous enough that I correct it without realizing what's going on. I just thought I was having a panic attack. Well, why are you having a panic attack? Because it's not the right thing to do. So then I move on to what is right, that feels right to me. So I guess I do get some answers without realizing I'm getting answers. Are you ever driving and should I take the highway? Should I take the back road? 6 of one, half dozen of another. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And at the last second, you choose the back road. Well, gee, I wonder why. It's slower. It's going to take me longer. The roads aren't as nice as the highway. But on the highway, traffic moves so fast. And then come to find out there was an accident on the highway. My intuition, my prayer to keep myself safe was answered in that moment. I listened to my intuition. I turned off to the back road and I was fine. Sometimes things happen so instantaneous like that. We don't have to wait for the answer. It just comes and we don't accept it as, oh my gosh, that was the answer. There's all sorts of things that happen throughout my day that I'm like, if I stop and think about it, oh yeah. and act in faith. If I follow my intuition and I follow what my gut is telling me, that everything works out fine. It's when I don't that I get that panicky anxiety, stress that doesn't set well, and it's upsetting to my system, my stomach, and I don't feel good. I'm like, and once I make that change in my mind of, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to go this way, then all that panic, it leaves. So that's I need to listen and act in faith. I hope this helps. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll hop in on Friday. Remember, if you ever need any help, if you ever want to navigate through any trials or tribulations, to release the stress, to release the anxiety of setting boundaries, of saying no, of making your mind up, of coming up with an answer or a direction of what you need to do next, how to, I always used to say, gosh, I wish I could just fix myself. But I never had anyone near me that could help me fix myself. And I didn't need anybody to fix me for me. I just needed somebody to guide me to do it. If you are looking for somebody to help, drop me a comment, send me a message, an email. I'm available to help you. Keep me posted on how life is going. Let me know if you're praying and listening and acting in faith. If you need help, remember, intuitive emotional healer, that's my job. I love to do that. I love to help people. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. I'll hop on Friday morning. Bye for now.